Welcome back, guys, to the video. Today we are doing our Week 9 NFL picks, and we have some really good matchups this week. And last week was a much better week for me compared to the previous two, where I started really slipping. I was like barely over 500 for my picks those couple weeks, but then last week I only missed 4 games. So really happy about that. Got to keep the hot streak going. And starting out this week with the Thursday night game is the Titans and the Steelers. I gotta say, if Will Levis did not perform the way he did, I would think the Steelers would have a very good chance at this one. I think they still do, don't get me wrong, but I'm going to decide just to ride the Will Levis hype for another week, see what happens, and pick the Titans in this game. He just played so well. He made great reads, threw the ball really well downfield, which the Titans really didn't have up until last week. So I'm just going to see what happens. I'm picking the Titans. We'll see if Levis can perform again. Not 4 touchdowns good, but still just, playing like he did as far as kind of pushing the ball downfield and just really making that offense look totally different in a way that they really just hadn't had before. So picking the Titans in that game. And then Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m., this is, I believe, the Germany game, which is the Dolphins and the Chiefs. I'm going to be honest, whenever I heard there was going to be a Germany game this year, I did not realize we'd get a huge matchup like this for a 9:30 a.m. game. I don't think, at least in my opinion, the other 9:30 a.m. games were even close to this good, but this is two teams that are 6-2, two teams that are some of the best the AFC even has to offer. I'm going to pick the Dolphins. Mahomes had the flu last week, and just all around the Chiefs just played very poor. Lost to the Broncos, a game that they should have won, especially if Mahomes was not sick. But I am picking the Dolphins. The Dolphins are number 1 in my power rankings as of right now, so I got to kind of be consistent with that. I think the Dolphins are very capable of beating the Chiefs. I would have liked them to perform better against the Eagles, another really good team league-wide. They didn't. So we'll see them come short again, playing their really good team like the Chiefs. But yeah, I love the Dolphins offense. They have Jalen Ramsey back, who did have an interception last week. I think the Dolphins at this point in the year is who I'm picking to beat the Chiefs. But again, the Chiefs are already 6-2. They've played well. They're a great team. They're number 4 in my power rankings. So it should be a really good high-scoring game. The next is the Vikings and the Falcons. So the Vikings traded for Josh Dobbs, but he is not starting yet this week since he is, pretty new to the team. And the Falcons have Heineke starting this week. So we have 2 new quarterbacks, Jaron Hall for the Vikings and Taylor Heineke for the Falcons. Both quarterbacks making their season debut as far as starting goes this week. So really interesting. I am going to pick the Vikings. I know that might be a very weird pick, but I just want to see what Jaron Hall has to offer because the Vikings have played very well the last few weeks. And that just makes it even worse for Kirk Cousins going down with a horrible injury like that when they started to really kind of heat up there. The reason I would rather pick the unknown quarterback versus a quarterback we've already seen before is because Heineke has very high highs. He has some really cool plays he pulls off, and then he also has some pretty bad lows where he throws some very questionable passes. And I just feel like, yes, he is definitely better than Ritter, but you need more consistency on offense for quarterback. The potential on the Falcons offense is incredibly high, and I just don't think Heineke or Ritter are going to be the guys to really get that done. So not saying the Falcons can't have a good season with Heineke in there, because I think honestly it's better odds than Ritter, but I just do think there's still a good level of inconsistency when it comes to the Falcons offense with Heineke in there as well. So I'm picking the Vikings. We'll see what Jaron Hall can really do, but I've liked what they've played in the weeks past, so we'll see if he can step in there and get them a win. And then next is the Seahawks and the Ravens. I am going to pick the Ravens in this game. I think the Ravens are a very good team, and so the Seahawks, but the Ravens, the way they've played the last few weeks, even though last week they did, only beat the Cardinals by 7 points, just going back 2 weeks to that Lions game when they just really showed up. I mean, it really shows what that team is capable of. And also, the Seahawks, while they have played well and they are actually now at the top of their division, I just don't think they're quite strong enough to beat the Ravens. But again, we'll see how that goes. It should be a really good game. Like literally every game I've covered so far, I think will be a very close game. Not the same style. I feel like the Vikings and the Falcons will be more low scoring, while the Dolphins and Chiefs will be much higher scoring. But still, all 4 games so far I've talked about, I think will be very close. Next is the Cardinals and the Browns. I'm picking the Browns. Browns had amazing defense. Cardinals are starting a rookie, Clayton Tune. I think they're going to really give him some problems. And the Cardinals are already just 1-7. So not a big game there in my opinion. Picking the Browns there. Rams and Packers, I'm picking the Rams. I have really kind of fallen off the Packers train this year. I was very high on Jordan Love I wouldn't say very high, but I was pretty confident in Jordan Love going into this year, and I haven't lost confidence in him as far as career goes. But this season is really crumbling, and it's crumbling fast, and I just don't think the Rams are a team that they're going to beat right now. So picking the Rams in that one. Buccaneers and Texans. This is a very, very big game for both teams because both teams are still in it for their division title. Either of these teams can win each of their respective divisions. So very big game here. I'm going to pick the Texans. I think they bounced back from last week's loss to Carolina, a game that they'd probably like to have back. Very winnable game for them. I don't think they played their best like they have kind of shown that they can play at this year. So I'm picking the Texans. I think they bounce back. Buccaneers have looked a little shaky as of recently. Although I will say they did almost beat the Bills, so you never know. But I'm going with the Texans in that game. And then next is the Commanders and the Patriots, which I'm going to pick the Commanders in. I think it'll be a very low-scoring and kind of boring game. I'm not going to lie. But I am going to pick Sam Howell and the Commanders in that game. Even though they did trade away Chase Young and Montez Sweat, I'm still just picking them because I can't get behind the Patriots offense and pick them with any sort of confidence at this point. Next is the Bears and the Saints. I'm picking the Saints in this game. Again, the Bears just not one of the better teams this year, and while the Saints I don't think are a great team overall, I think they are definitely better than the Bears, and they will win this game and actually go to a 5-4 record, which will be pretty good for the Saints. They've had some struggles. They've had some struggles this year, but I do think they win that game. Next is the Colts and the Panthers. Now, okay, so last week I picked the Panthers to beat the Texans because I thought new play caller was a very winnable game for the Panthers. I think they finally get one under their belt. And they did. They played much better, not high scoring by any means, but they did actually win the game. And the play calling was a lot better. So I am going to pick them again this week. And I get it. I know I'm a Panthers fan. I'm sure people might think I'm biased for that. And again, like I said last week, if you think I am biased, I encourage you to go check out my old week pick videos because I have not been a fan of how the Panthers have performed. And I've picked against them literally every other week except for 2, or maybe it's 3 now. But still, I am picking the Panthers over the Colts. I think they will get some momentum and win at least a few more games this year. Not many because, again, they really just aren't that great of a team. But I do think the Colts are another matchup that they can definitely take advantage of and actually win. So I'm picking the Panthers in that game. Next to the Giants, the Raiders. Wow. Okay, so Garoppolo is now benched. Josh McDaniels is gone. The Raiders GM is gone. Huge changes, but really necessary ones. I really don't think there's any person that really wanted Josh McDaniels to stay there as coach. So, believe it or not, I'm picking the Raiders. Interim head coach, rookie quarterback and all, I'm picking them to beat the Giants because, honestly, Aiden O'Connell played against the Chargers and did not look half bad. So I'm going to pick him to beat the Giants, who did look pretty bad last week against the Jets. I think they have. I don't think they have Tyrod Taylor playing, and they played very poor last week. -1 passing yards total. So I'm picking the Raiders in that. Cowboys and Eagles. So a really big matchup. Not even just in general, but especially for that division. Jalen Hurts, a bit of a knee issue going on. It sounds like. Not sure how much that's going to limit him. I really don't know. I'm going to pick the Eagles. Whether or not that's a good pick, honestly, I go back and forth because if he is limited with his mobility, that Cowboys defense might really get the kind of Eagles offense, especially Hurts. So I'm picking the Eagles. That might come back to bite me in the butt. I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm going to pick the Eagles in that game. Bills and Bengals. I'm picking the Bengals in this game. I think the Bengals are back. I really do. I think Burrow's health under control is what was needed to give them stability. And since then, they have won the last 3 games. Burrow has like 8 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in those last 8 games. Last 3 games. So, yeah, they're on fire. The Bills have been very inconsistent, in my opinion, with games. They should have blown teams out like the Giants, like the Buccaneers, and they just didn't. So, and they lost the Patriots. So I'm not blown away at the Bills. I'm very optimistic for the Bengals' momentum. They're starting to kind of pick up right now. So I'm picking the Bengals in a massive Sunday night game. And then finally, the Chargers and the Jets. I'm going to pick the Chargers. I really don't know how good of a game this is going to be. I feel like it's going to be very low scoring and kind of boring. But I do think the Chargers will come out on top of this. It should be a very good matchup, though. And the reason I say low scoring because the Jets offense really isn't great. It hasn't really been ever since Rodgers got hurt, obviously, after the first, 4 plays. It's been very similar to last year, though I will say Zach Wilson has definitely improved to some degree. So, not great offense. Chargers defense is kind of, okay. And then, Chargers offense, which is, usually pretty good. Jets defense, really good. So, I feel like it's just be like one of those low-scoring games. Not exciting, but I'm going to pick the Chargers in this game to go to 4-4. I think the Chargers are Honestly, a bit better what their record shows. I think they're about 2 wins better, maybe. At least, maybe, I guess a little over 500. I think they've had some very close games that they should have won, and they just didn't. Like that Titans game is one that they definitely would probably like to have back. So, yeah, I'm picking the Chargers. Should be a pretty low-scoring game and should be pretty close. But I do have them in that game, and that is going to do it for my Week 9 NFL picks. Let me know down below what your guys' biggest upset of the week pick is. And yeah, thanks for watching. I do really appreciate it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.